shocking scenes from the disaster in Spain. Guys, welcome to the channel, The Modern Survivalist. Realistic survival and preparedness is what I try to do here in the channel. You have a ton of information. You have a lot of content. You can use the search function, and you have also my books, Surviving the Economic Collapse and Street Survival Skills. Guys, this stuff that we talk about all the time applies here. Now, this isn't something that happens every day, but every once in a while, these things end up happening. It is not the case that this is like Florida, where every single year, yes, you have significant storms. This is more of a large scale, mostly unexpected event. Last time was what, 80s? So yeah, you're looking at 20, 30, 40 years in the past. Yeah, that's the kind of thing that most average people don't even think of. That is not, I mean, why would I worry? This doesn't happen here. Well, yes, it does. It's simply that you don't know about it. But when it does happen, usually people are completely caught by surprise. It should not be the case for you. If you are an actual person interested in preparedness for seriously, not just pretending and role-playing, no, serious preparedness, this is the kind of thing you look into. You know that this is a potential disaster area. You know that there was a flood here 80 years ago. There's even accounts of Romans when they lived in this city 2,000 years ago, that they had floods in this same city in Valencia, right? So if it happens 2,000 years ago, it is as well as yesterday. It's no different. It will happen again eventually, and you have to be ready. So what is it that we see? Well, unfortunately, we see a lot of looting. We see people looting and stealing and taking advantage of it, and they're getting arrested. There's a lot of solidarity as well, lots of people helping out, being very generous with one another, sharing food, water, taking people into their homes, even complete strangers. I mean, it is really... it's really something to see how generous people can be, but also how terrible people can be. You have both. So you have to keep all of that in mind. Do you have, a protection? Do you have a way of defending yourself? I hope you do. I mean, this is the kind of stuff we've talked about so many times. And this is the moment in which you need it. So people getting arrested because they are taking advantage of all of this. Let's keep on going. We have people that are going to these stores because they simply said that, yeah, just go in there and take whatever you can, right? You have a supermarket that is completely destroyed, and the owners of the store, the manager, the company said, yeah, go in there. It's not considered stealing. You go and take whatever you can because it's wasted anyway, and people are desperate. Now, this is not the same thing, and of course, just have some decency. If you go there and take a few bottles of water and some food, try leaving some behind, right? Like this woman here, I suppose, grab something that you need and try to leave some for the rest. It is not going to be considered stealing if the company says, yeah, go in there and take it. Now, that is a very different thing from putting a brick over an Apple store and loading up your backpack with iPhones, right? It's not the same thing. So in one case, you're allowed to do this, and it makes sense. And in the other, well, it's nice to see that not everyone is stealing the wine, but hey, you have both. Now, let's move on. One of the things that I heard people saying, oh, but you don't know, in these rivers that you said, these have been dried for years. It doesn't matter. That's the point. It was dry now, but in a few hours, it may be just ripping through the place. It is still a river. It is still a stream. It may be dry for now, but that's what flash floods are all about. Years ago, I showed a picture of a car, of a guy that, so as to save a few bucks in parking, he left it in a dry patch of land. That happened to be a dry stream. Yeah, it wasn't even raining, but miles up the mountain it was, and the water that came flushing like a giant toilet took that car basically to the middle of the sea, right? You don't just assume that simply because there's not water now, or even because there's a little bit of water, you would have several feet of water or God knows how much water just going down that way. If you see the mark on the land, on the ground, you see that there's potential for water, it's probably because there's going to be water there eventually. I mean, it's even the case that you could even just dig a little bit. If you're actually looking for water, oh, it's a dry stream. It's a dry little stream. Oh, well, you know what? If you dig a little bit, you probably will find a little bit of water underneath the ground. So You just cannot assume that simply because, and you will see this when hiking, when backpacking, when doing this sort of stuff, when trekking, you will see that in the map it says, oh, it's a river. Oh, but it's dry. Yeah, it is dry for now. Don't assume it will stay dry forever. And don't assume it will stay dry for a few more hours even. It could be completely flooded and breaking through the banks in a matter of minutes because of water coming from God knows where. That's simply how this works. All of this, oh, but this was nothing at all. Yeah, and all of a sudden it's being eaten by the Mediterranean because it's all full of water. That's the way it is. One of the saddest thing is so many, and as you see, in very like urbanized areas, buildings, apartment buildings and so on, you know what a lot of people were doing? They were rushing to get their cars out of the garage because it was underground, right? It was in the first or second level, and they were going to get their cars. They would just want to move them out of there and put them somewhere else so as to not have them damaged by water. A lot of people did not make it out of there. They got trapped in these underground garages or in the cars. Imagine all of these vehicles being dragged by the current. It will be days and we'll still find them inside. It is very, very sad. And of course, the amount of people just needing help. You have older people. You have people that need water, right? So you look at this typical thing. Many of these people cannot even leave the big buildings because the street is completely full of cars stacked, several of them. You cannot even open the door. So they need a bucket and a rope to bring up supplies for people. Older people that are alone. I was just watching a video where they said that at night people cry out for help. You can listen to people. There's no way that they can get to everyone at the same time. So it must be very freaking awful as it is right now. But the kind of thing we talk about here all the time, right? The kind of thing we talk, having the food, having water, having radios, having batteries, having means of charging your devices, a solar panel. This is a place where you can easily open one of those up and charge a device, get some communication, having radios, the ways of communicating with people. Also, what you see over there in terms of defending yourself, also those things that you see there beneath, which is have some physical strength, work out a little bit, have a little bit of cardio. There's been stories of people that they were hanging just from the trees or the light posts for the entire night, maybe the entire day, just holding on to a tree until the water went down. So it may be more than 20. There's been people that held on to trees for more than 24 hours. The stories are amazing, but you need some physical strength. What's your conditioning? Do you have enough physical strength? Do you exercise a little bit? Are you always worrying about 9mm or 45 ACP, or should I stock up more on 40 Smith & Wesson when you actually have some more important things to take care of, like the 100 pounds of fat that you have on your body because you're so overweight? You're not working out, you're not losing weight, you're not getting stronger. No, you're just worrying about what caliber. That is so fucking stupid. Have your priorities sorted out. That's a lot more important than worrying how much you need. Even if you're defending yourself, it's probably going to be more about having a tool to defend yourself, the capability, and with a little bit of luck, you won't even need it. If you need it, hopefully you have the tools and you have the training. But your priorities are definitely far more on the side of having the necessary supplies, having the necessary level of fitness, staying aware of what's going on, being smart regarding the decisions you make. No, you don't risk your life for the damn car that probably has insurance anyway. What is that? But this is the kind of thing that people that don't do preparedness in the rational, realistic, practical manner that I insist on doing it here, they end up going for, right? It's really something. It's really sad to see so many people in this condition, and especially to such a, anyone. But yeah, they're just distributing water. They don't even have water, man. And the lines, look at how many people waiting for a little bit of food. In a city that literally, Xandar from Guardians of the Galaxy, as I showed in the previous video, the Museum of Science from the Calatrava, the famous architect. It is a beautiful place. It is a wonderful place. But all of a sudden, just all mud, destroyed and covered in mud. And people that never thought they would find themselves in this situation happen to be in it. That's what survival is all about. That's what realistic preparedness and survival is all about. Being ready for these things. Guys, see you on the next video. Take care.